Now, I've been wanting to get my hands on a pair of Rival gloves for at least a couple years now. Rival boxing gear has only really made its mark in Australia over the last 5 years, because cracking the Australian boxing market is a significant effort in itself. But as of 2024, Rival has established itself as one of, if not the most recognized boxing brand around, especially when you see the likes of AJ, Lomachenko, Usyk rock their gloves in the ring. So to start my collection with Rival, I had to go with their flagship sparring glove, and those are the RS100s. And before I go ahead and start testing them over the next few months, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a preview. The metallic colorway, as you can see, is outstanding. This is pretty much the same across all 5 of the colorways. I thought the green and gold did stand out a little bit. Even the way that they put the subtle white streak on one of the Rival logos, which is of course a mainstay, but it's just a subtle little quality that you see a lot of brands miss. Even the rubber label being recessed underneath the wrist is a huge deal. You do not want boxers getting cut, and the fact that Rival have gone to this effort to do that just shows that they've had probably feedback before of boxers being cut or being grazed, and actually listened to their community by chucking it underneath. You even notice across both gloves there's these tiny little flare-ups on each of the panels of synthetic leather, which I thought was a mistake. I thought there was something weird going on, but literally looking at both pairs of gloves, those little marks, as tiny as they are identical across the two, which is really cool. The only slight negative with the build quality of these gloves that I've seen is maybe some bunched up stitching in a few areas, but nothing that you don't see from any other brand. And I bought mine in the 16-ounce model. You can get these in 14s, 16s, and 18s. And literally only as a few days ago, or a few weeks ago, the 16-ounce small came out. Now, I tested the 16-ounce small on my own hand, and I've got to say it is a huge welcome to see a boxing brand and a boxing glove that comes in different hand sizes, not just weights. Now, when I used to work in the industry, there was no boxing glove that fit everybody's needs. It's impossible to have a glove that simply everybody loves, because it's only made to fit the most amount of people's hands that it can, not everyone's. And to expect everyone to fit the same weighted glove is just unfair. Gloves can be so much bigger in order to attain that 16-ounce weight. So to see a manufacturer bring out a smaller version of a glove so they can experience it just as nicely as somebody else does that has a slightly larger hand, that is a huge relief for boxers. As I said before, most brands won't even consider dropping their hand size until that glove becomes a 12-ounce or a 10-ounce glove. So even when I review a boxing glove, which you may have seen before, the other weights may give you a slightly different experience just based on how that model is crafted, especially internally. And the hand fit of the RS100s is simply the main reason why I even decided to choose these gloves at first. I cannot tell you, and you probably cannot fathom, how comfortable and how plush these gloves are. These truly are up there with the Adidas 350s, the speed tilts. These are probably slightly even more comfortable than them. I've tried a few winning pairs on, I haven't tested them, same with Phenom and Fly, and I do gotta say, even though it's a sparring glove, this is so plush, so comfortable, and no matter how much I describe it to you, you really won't appreciate it until you actually get your hands into these gloves. The foams internally just feel so nice against my knuckles, the back of my hand, and my thumb, and the cotton or almost cloth inner lining, it isn't as soft as, say, a Tricot. Even though it's a little bit more coarser, it's still on par, if not a little bit more comfortable, which is an odd thing to say. Now, the RS100's profile is probably a medium to large in terms of its width, especially when you get up to the hand capsule, which is really nice for those of you who need a bigger glove when you spar. The knuckle padding also is super spongy, and it really, as you can see, exposes those front two knuckles excellently. The palm pillow here is also really cool. You've got not just your normal foam pillow here, you've also got a heap of mesh underneath, which actually adds a little bit more bulk again, which is quite nice, I think, when you're trying to parry. And the thumb is put together so well here. You've got a huge piece of synthetic leather here that connects from the middle of my fingers all the way across to my thumb. Very, very well connected. That is above and beyond what a typical glove does, and I appreciate that hugely. The wrist padding is also very, very thick, very, very soft and plush all the way around, just stopping probably 10 to 20 mils on either side of the wrist, which I think is okay. It would have been nice maybe to have a little bit of that same pillow padding here, but obviously without that, it just gives you a little bit of a more flush connection when you're lacing up. So that's it for a quick little preview, guys. Can't wait to see how these goes for sparring. If you have any comments about the RS100s or any questions, let me know down below. And if you want to see the full review, leave a like and subscribe because that video will be coming up in the next few months. And if you're keen for more fight gear fun, make sure you look at some of my other reviews. I'll see you guys for another review very soon.